about today with the amazing and dynamic speakers that we have for you. So we're so excited to have you guys here to be able to learn about building that financial wealth and building your portfolio and all of that. So without further ado, I'm gonna call some people up, but I do need help with the microphone. So someone get me Precise or somebody to help me with this mic. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. In the meantime, we're gonna try and wing it with one mic until I get the second one up. But again, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Money Matters panel discussion with the Elite Circle. We're so thrilled to have everyone in the building with us. And as we dive into crucial topics surrounding financial planning and wealth empowerment, we're just excited to be able to help you learn as much as you can about those topics. Now, before we begin, I'd like to do some housekeeping. So I want to remind everyone that we have a little disclaimer that all of the opinions shared during tonight's discussion, of course, are those of our esteemed panelists. And we encourage you to take what resonates with you and leave the rest, of course. It's important to note that listening to or taking the advice mentioned today on the panel does not hold anyone liable, but we highly recommend that you consult with your financial advisor, insurance agent, or banker. And if you don't have one, consider reaching out to one of our amazing panelists to teach you how you can make them one of your official partners. So we'd like to extend a huge thank you to our sponsors and partners whose support has really made this event possible. First of all, give it up for Rocksteady. Yes. They have amazing food, amazing drinks, amazing vibes, and we just love it here. And they're our official home for the Elite Circle. So we're so excited to be able to partner with them on this endeavor. Yes. Also, we want to thank our branding and marketing firm, which is Pure Branding Group. And they were able to do all of our marketing and our branding and all of that. So purebrandinggroup.com if you want to learn more about that. We also have Luxury Transportation, Platinum Luxury Fleet, who helps us not only transport our amazing clients, but partners with us with Live Like VIP to help us ensure that all of our clients can live like VIP all the time. And we also have photography by Kendall. And we have some videography that's been done by Atai, who's in the building right here today. Yes. And then we also want to give it up for our corporate liaisons. We have Tej in the back who's checking everybody in. So thank you for that. Awesome. But without further ado, we want to be able to get things kicked off. So with this enlightening conversation and exploring strategies to enhance our financial well-being, we want to be able to get the party started. Are you ready? Yes. Yes. So join us as we welcome our featured panelists. First up, we have Miss Carolyn Fraser. CFP, which is a financial advisor at Edward Jones. Carolyn Wright Fraser is a dedicated financial advisor at Edward Jones, specializing in retirement planning, estate, as well as legacy considerations. And she also does financial analysis, asset protection strategies, and strategic planning. With a strong educational background from Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, New Brunswick, Carolyn brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to her clients in the Atlanta metropolitan area. Hey, Carolyn. Yes, you can have a seat. Awesome. Next up, we have Miss Ebony Gurndy. I'm sure some of you already fell in love with Ebony. So Ebony is a seasoned vice president of commercial banking at Citizens Trust Bank, and she's which is one of the country's largest Black-owned banks with FDIC insurance. With a strong foundation in finance and a demonstrated history of success in the financial services industry, Ebony brings a wealth of experience to her role. She is a graduate of Marquette University, where she honed her skills and knowledge in sales, customer relationship management, leadership, and risk management. Ebony's dedication to serving her clients and her commitment to excellence make her a valuable asset to her team at Citizens Trust Bank. Give it up for Ebony. And last but not least, we have the infamous, amazing Stephen Keshi. He is the CEO and founder of Rejuvco. Keshi, better known as Keshi, is a visionary founder of Rejuvco Life Insurance and Retirement, which is a company that is dedicated to transforming the identity for wealth building success. Yes. With a mission to empower individuals to unlock their full potential, Stephen leads his team in cultivating a growth mindset and nurturing a strong sense of self-identity among clients. And he is driven by a passion for helping others to achieve financial independence. Everyone give it up for Keshi. Yes. And all together they make her amazing panel for Money Matters. Yes, awesome. So we're so excited to have you all in the building. And I like to get started with just letting everyone know a little bit about yourself, because I know we had the mastermind groups and a lot of people got to get to know you one-on-one. But for the group, we want to let everybody know who you are and how you are. So if you would tell us a little bit about yourself, we'll start with Keshi.
Hello.
Hello.
How y'all doing?
Good. Amazing.
I'm saying, how y'all doing?
Amazing.
How y'all doing in the back over there?
Amazing.
Yeah. How's this side doing over here? I want to go like side to side. I want to see which part of the room is loud over here. Okay, so we're gonna do this side first. I'm gonna say, how you doing? You said amazing. You want to say sensational? Okay, this side. You guys say sensational. What side? What do you guys want to say?
Growing.
Oh, growing. Okay, I like that. You guys ready? How y'all doing?
Sensational.
That's pretty good. How y'all doing?
Growing.
Okay. How y'all doing?
Sensational.
How about y'all?
Growing.
Backside, what y'all want? Amazing? How y'all doing? I like that. One more time, how y'all doing? Woo! So how y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Woo! I love it. Okay, so we're ready to go now. I'm just excited to be here. Amongst amazing people. What I love about events like this is it's with intentionality, right? It's in the middle of the day. It's a Thursday. You probably have a lot of other things you could be doing, but you decided to say, hey, I'm going to step into a place where I can learn today. So kudos to you guys for coming out today. Keshi, yes, I have a background in events. I actually did events for a while. I did events for about 14 years. My last 2 years in college, I did events. Leaving college, I did events. And something happened during, 2020. You guys remember what happened in 2020? Yep. COVID happened and everything got shut down. And this person that only knows how to do events couldn't do events anymore. Oh. I found myself scratching my head and saying, what am I going to do next? But, as an entrepreneur, you're always looking for ways to, figure it out, right? So I went through, trying to figure out how do I develop websites? Okay, it's not websites. How do I do this? It's not this. And then one day I got a call randomly by this young guy named Elvis. And he started talking to me about life insurance and legacy building. And I was confused on how he got my number, first and foremost. And then he asked me a very important question. He said, Keshi, if something happened to you today, what would your son get? And in my mind, I'm thinking, man, I haven't made money in a very long time. The thing that I used to do is not working anymore. If something happened to me right now, my son wouldn't get a thing. After all these years of being alive, I haven't produced anything to transfer over to my son. So at that point, I decided to get on the call. He educated me about life insurance, about money. Isn't it interesting? I went to Morehouse College, and I love Morehouse, by the way, but it's very expensive to go to Morehouse. It's very expensive to go to HBCUs, isn't it? Yeah. Anybody want HBCUs? Sheesh. Almost 100,000, right? 120,000, anything around there. So, but I learned more about money on a 30-minute call than I did in 4 years of college. So for me, I got attracted to that. We got into the life insurance part. I lost 2 parents 6 months apart. I had a mother who passed away from cancer, and 6 months later, my pops passed away. And he started talking to me about life insurance. I was like, man, I can't be the only one that's went through something like that. And, you're talking about 6-7 years later, this happens and nobody still talks to me about life insurance. That tells me that there's a missing gap here, that there's not enough people to educate people on it. So I decided to get into the industry. Usually what happens is if you're seeking for something and you're in prayer and you are really intentional about changing your life, God starts bringing things to you, but it's your decision to take it or not. And at that point, I decided to take it. I'm in my purpose now. Events was my passion, but it's the difference between passion and purpose. So I'm in my purpose today. And in my passion, I was 10, 12, 15 years in it. And it wasn't growing as fast as it's growing in my purpose, because in my passion, I got comfortable in it. Because in your passion tells you never to pivot. there's an ego that's attached to passion, right? And I got into my purpose and things has been growing. We have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful organization of identity development. So we focus on identity development, growing your identity, growing your mind, because you can learn anything you want about money, but if your mind is not in the right place, you're never going to implement, right?
Absolutely.
So we teach people about identity development, and then we also teach about how do you build a life insurance agency? How do you build wealth? So we help people build a life insurance agencies as well. So our mission statement is improve your identity, period, improve your wealth. All right, so that's what we're here. That's all the agents here.
We have a lot of people who came out here to support yours truly, and that just speaks a lot to who you are and the impact you're already having in your purpose. So kudos to you and the amazing things that you're doing in your purpose. Yes. Now we have the amazing Ebony. Ebony Gurndy, who's gonna tell us a little bit about who you are and how you are and why.
Well, now I know my passion and my purpose, but that's a hard act to follow. So I've been banking for a really long time, but I'm a mother, I'm a wife, and the passion part about banking was always being able to help clients. So I've done that for, oh, can you hear me? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. So I've done that my entire life. I've only been a banker. When we talk about my purpose, within the past year, I made the change from large corporate banking to community banking. And I really feel like my purpose is to help our community. I have been a small business owner trying to get a loan, and I have been a banker my whole life, and it was difficult for me. So part of me is like, I need to teach other people where the holes are, where the gaps are, right? Because there's a lot of gaps that we just don't know. It's not dinner table conversation. So that's me. I'm here to help. I'm here to advise first and then help you get the loan. So,
Awesome. Thank you, Ebony. Certainly not least is the beautiful Miss Carolyn. Tell us who you are, how you are, and why you are. I'm not thinking anybody yell on one side or the other side of the room. I fell into this career by mistake. This was not what my plan was. This is the plan that God had for me, talking about a purpose. And even sometimes in your purpose, when you answer that call, it doesn't mean that it's going to start out smooth and easy, because that was not my story. It was very, very difficult. I tell folks that the devil tried to take me out in this career pivot that I made about 12 years ago. And I stuck. People asked me after the fact, why did you stay in it? And I didn't know what else to do. And I just, God told me to do it. So I trusted that he was going to make it right. And he did. I have been an advisor, a financial advisor with Edward Jones for 11 years. I just recently obtained my certified financial planner designation, which is a big deal in my industry. So I'm proud of that. I'm trying to help people who, first of all, you talk about conversations that we have. And I feel like across the board narratives need to change at our dinner tables, and the things that we talk about with each other, and the things that we talk about with our children, and the things that we do to improve generationally our place in life and that of our kids. And that is not always about what kind of car we drive today, or what kind of house we live in today, or how good our hair looks and our nails look and our shoes look and our bags look. And I am that chick, just so y'all know, I am that chick. I want all of it to look great, but that is not, we do that sometimes to our detriment, and we don't pay attention to, what happens if the rug is pulled out from underneath us? Do we have life insurance for our loved ones? Do we have cash in the bank, or cash value, or cash something that we can get our hands on that is not going to cost us 25% interest in 2024. So I just want to help folks do better. Everybody is not my client, but I have information and will talk and help anybody who needs it. And that's simple. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Carolyn. And we're just gonna jump right in. So what strategies do you recommend, Carolyn, for effective financial planning? Strategies? I don't know if I would call them strategies. I just think that when you are ready, you have to really be ready, because it's really easy to say, oh yeah, I'm gonna get my money together and I'm gonna do this, that, and the third. But you have to take a really hard look at yourself and look at what your current situation is, and are you willing to make the changes that are necessary? Discipline and sacrifice, those are not dirty words. But we have to examine that, because if we, and again, I raise my hand first because I speak very plainly, because I have had to come to a reckoning for myself, my husband and me. And we have not always been the best, the most financially responsible, y'all. We have not. So I know that whichever I speak, but just, I think the first step is, are you serious? Like, are you really serious? Are you tired of being in debt? Are you tired of living paycheck to paycheck? Are you willing to make the sacrifice to put X amount of dollars, pay a life insurance premium, save towards your retirement, do whatever? Are you willing to make the sacrifice today for that to happen? And if you're not, then we don't have anything to talk about. So the first step is honestly and truly taking an honest look at, where am I today and what do I need to change? Because what's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing, expecting a different result.
Thank you. Exactly. So if we keep doing what we've been doing, we're gonna keep getting what we've been getting. And so if we want that to change, then it is on us to really say, okay, I need to change something. And so I don't know about a strategy, but that's the first thing we have to do.
Well, it sounds like it's not a strategy, but more so a mindset, right? And I think Keshi could speak to this a bit. So when it comes to the mindset that you need to have in order to be able to effectively plan for your finances, what does that look like, and what does that mean to you to help people shift that mindset? And what are the challenges with that? Woo!
Well, a lot of people don't even know that they have a financial problem.
Okay, speak to that.
Because can you read the ingredients from inside the can?
No.
Okay, so I always tell people this: first, you gotta change your associations. So who you're around today oftentimes challenge the way that you think about money. If you stay around the same people who have the same money identity and mindset as you, you'll never change. There'll be no pressure there. So A, and then B, books that you read, right? Books is shared wisdom, right? Being able to go through experiences that some of those people who wrote those books took 15 years finding out. You can find out in a couple of hours. It's called wisdom. It's cutting down time. Conferences, what conferences are you going to be around people who want to change and to hear from people who can change you, right? So the first thing is most people have a lack of awareness that they even have a financial problem because they're around the wrong people, right? So you got to check your circle today. If you're looking for ways to grow financially, you got to ask yourself, am I in an environment to grow financially? Because what happens is people want to grow financially. They'll get all the tips, they'll get everything they needed, they'll get all the information, and then who they're going to go back to hang out with? Okay, so now you want to change your circumstances, but your whole being, your whole environment, your whole circle is telling you to do what? Let's go here, let's go there, let's go here. But if in the past you didn't have the mental fortitude to stop it, what makes you think you're gonna do it now?
Right.
Does that make sense? So first you need to change who you're around today.
Change your circle, make
You
it more
got-
elite. See what I did there?
You got to be aware of who is the 5 people you hang around. If you do the average, that's your income. Have you ever heard of that? The 5 people you're around, you do the average, that's your income, correct? So if you want to change financially, you have to go seek out people who are doing better financially, or people who are in professions that can teach you how to be better financially. Because once again, you can't read the ingredients from inside the can. Who is your mentor? Who is your leader in your financial change today? You need a leader in everything, by the way.
Yeah.
Do we not need God to lead us? The best entrepreneurs in the world, do they not need a mentor? When you take your kids to go swim, do they not need an instructor?
Absolutely.
Yeah. When you go to school to learn, you learn by yourself, or is there a teacher?
It's a teacher.
So why do people think they got to do things on their own? So you got to seek people who are better than you, and better is always good. You should seek to have. I don't want to be the smartest person in my circle. That's weird. I need to be the dumbest. Because it forces it's pressure. Does that make sense? So today, who around you, the one that you need to either help you grow or alleviate?
Yeah.
Based on habits you want to change today, you want to change them. The people right, left, do they want to change the habits? They don't. challenge them to change the habits. If they don't, you gotta leave them alone. It's hard, but you gotta do it. Because every time you make the changes, who's gonna draw you back? Those same people. So A, associations, B, books, C, conferences. Get around the right people, get around the right mindsets, borrow the right mindsets, okay? That's what I would say to that.
Absolutely. Awesome. And growth hurts. Thank you so much, Keshi. And I think a lot of people aren't aware about how much growth also hurts, right? We always talk about wanting to grow, we want to have the growth mindset, but it's important to understand that growth hurts as well. And you have to be able to build the endurance, the thick skin, and everything that you need in order to be able to push back past that hurt so that you could go to that next level and become that best version of yourself and change your circle to a more elite circle. See what I did there? So Ebony, let's talk about when it comes to your business, right? Because a lot of people want to be entrepreneurs, they want to start their own business and all of that. And a lot of times they may not realize how much it costs to really invest in yourself in that capacity. Where does commercial banking play into that, and how can you give them ideas or strategies to be able to tap into that space?
Okay. So I'm gonna say first off, if you're starting a business, you need an advisor, right? And it's the same concept, because if you come out the gate thinking, oh, I'm gonna do this and it's gonna happen overnight, that's not true. Okay, especially dealing with a traditional bank, and everyone heard me say this earlier, history matters. When you go to a bank to get a loan, we wanna know what you did in the past. So if you're coming with a brand new idea, it sounds great, but that's not how to build a banking relationship. So to start, if you want to be in that space and have a real commercial banking relationship, find somebody at the bank to have a relationship with. Find somebody who's doing what you want to do from a business perspective, because that's who you're going to learn from. Nobody gets a commercial banking relationship overnight with a startup business. That just doesn't happen, because the whole point is banks lend to people who have done it before, right? Most of our loans go to people who really don't need it. So you got to figure out how to build your,
That's real talk.
Yeah, it really is. So you got to figure out how to build your reputation, and it starts with building that advisory person at the bank that's going to say, hey, start with opening a checking account. Build a relationship with us by getting an unsecured credit card. You're not going to come out the gate with some huge loan thinking I'm going to start my business with this $1 million I borrowed from the bank today. First of all, we want to know that you can run the business. Well, if you're just starting, we don't know that yet. That helps.
No, absolutely. And I think a lot of people don't know that. They don't know that their history, like you said, history matters. So being able to have that advisor or mentor or anything like that that you all spoke about is really important at each and every level. So we're very thankful that you're helping bring that home and helping them understand that. Yes, absolutely. So talk to us, Keshi, about courting, right? So as a gentleman with a beautiful fiance, give it up for his beautiful fiance. Someone who clearly understands how important it is to know how to court, right? Talk to us about courting when it comes to business, and like Ebony was saying about building those relationships. For you to get to where you are today and having these amazing relationships and followings and be able to have you support you, there had to be some relationship building somewhere and courting, right? So how do you court in business?
Relationship building.
Yeah.
That's so important, by the way. You know where people mess up in a relationship building?
Where?
They kill the relationship in the beginning.
How do they do that?
By going into the relationship building process, wanting something right away. What does that have to do with, is that anything, if you look up the definition of relationship, does it say that you're supposed to get something right away? No. Relationship building is a long-term thing, right? Okay, I have a thing that I believe in. First one, in relationship building, how intentional are you today? How intentional are you in relationship building today? Meaning, do you even know what type of relationships you want to build? So the people that are in here right now today, do you know what type of relationships you want to build? Did you? So like I started the beginning of the year writing down a list of 10 people that I want to build relationships with this year. What did that help me do? Well, it helped me realize, well, where are those people going to be? What do they like? You know, research about them. What are they into? So I can put myself in those positions. Out of those 10, I started building relationships with about 4 of them. So in this game of business, as you're building your business, you can't do anything without relationship building, but you have to be intentional about relationship building. So number one is every year every quarter, every year, depending on what type of business you're in, you should start with a list of people you want to build a relationship with. And you need to ask yourself is, why do I want to build a relationship with this person? What does the relationship with this person help me do? and how do I build a relationship is the three things you need to ask yourself. Now, as you're building relationships, I have a 10-1 rule. You guys want to know what the 10-1 rule is?
Yes, please.
How could I give somebody value 10 times before I ask for one thing in return? Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
And they don't have to be huge things. Your first value could be a compliment. If you're that strategic about building relationships, you can't lose. The growth that we've seen thus far, that I've seen in my life, has come from relationship building. You know what relationships doesn't cost a lot of times? It doesn't cost a lot of money, but it costs intentionality. So what are 10 value points that you could grow to learn, or 10 skills that you could grow to learn? That's always going to be a value proposition when you meet people. And how often can you give that person that value proposition 10 times before you ask something in return? By the time you ask for something from that person, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. They have to do it. Law of attraction.
Absolutely.
They're going to do it. You didn't give them 10 value propositions that they saw, they appreciated, they realized. That one thing that you asked them, they're going to do it. The problem is most people ask for something before even giving one value proposition. Be the value machine. Walk around. Your goal today should, how could I be a value machine? Well, how do I be a value machine? What skill sets are you picking up today? Who can you regurgitate today? I have mentors that I listen to today, and they give me a message. Guess what I do with that message? I write it down and I give it right back to somebody else. That's called wisdom. You don't have to be a perfect person because there's only one person that has that job. Who's that person? The Most High. Your job is not to be perfect. Your job is just to get 1% growth every day, right? But in reality, if you really want to build relationships, you have to be intentional about who you're building relationships with, why you want to build a relationship with, what you're going to give to them, what you can get out of it. Figure out 10 core things you could be really good at giving people, and use those 10 core things all the time, and you'll get everything that you want out of this life. Will it come when you want it? No, because that's God's decision when it comes. But it will come. And you got to be patient enough to receive it. But you also got to be patient enough with yourself to take failures along the ways. But make sure that you get good at 10 core things that you can always give people. 10 things that's consistent, that you start getting really good at, that you can give people before you ask for one thing.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Absolutely. And to just kind of piggyback on that, so none of these individuals are here by mistake. I had to build these relationships, right? Even though Keshi's probably the newest one, there was history matters, right? Piggybacking on what Ebony said, the history and the reputation that I have in the community helped get Keshi in this seat, right? So I happened to be at MCK when he was getting his birthday and he got engaged to his queen, and I heard all the ruckus and all that stuff, but I didn't know him yet. But the owners of MCK, who I have amazing value relationship with, because I gave them more than 10 things probably, but I have an amazing rapport with them. As soon as I walked through the door, Chuck was like, "Oh, you know Keshi?" And I was like, "No, I don't think so." He's like, "You should know Keshi, but I don't want to just walk you into his party." But I just kind of kept that in the back of my head. So I'm at the bar and I'm enjoying myself. And then a couple of weeks later, I'm at Verdure, and who I run into is Keshi. I didn't even know it was him until the numbers were being exchanged. And he's like, "Oh, my name is Keshi." And I was like, "Keshi, you just got engaged." And he's like, "Yeah, she's right outside." And then, so I had the background and the rapport, not even from him directly, but indirectly. So the reputation and the history that he didn't even know helped to bring him here today to be able to speak to you guys today. So it's not always a direct connection. So it's not always, to his point, it's not always what you do for that person directly, but how you help someone can help you later on with someone else that they're connected to. And that adds value and credibility, because credibility is so important too. Oh, credibility is everything. So who you know does matter, and how you carry yourself and how you build that rapport and maintain those relationships mean everything. It might not be today, but it might be 3 weeks from today that you remember the name that you heard, and then you're like, "Wait, aren't you?" And then you're like, "Oh, well, I need you to do," and then now he's sitting here. So just like that. So relationship building is really, really key. All right. So Ebony, when it comes to, again, piggybacking on the relationship building, when it comes to also not knowing the background, when it comes to the history of your business, how important is it to know yourself and know your business and what it is that you're doing? Because I'm sure people have this amazing idea, but they don't even know their own business a lot of times.
They don't, okay, so dealing with entrepreneurs is unique, right? Because everybody takes pride in their business, it's like their baby. But you gotta look at it like a business, because you will make decisions that are personal, that affect your business. So one of the major ones, and we've already talked about it today, was not wanting debt. Personally, you don't want debt, but you want business debt. So you have to separate yourself. And that's just an example. From a relationship building perspective, you want to understand what kind of relationship your business needs to survive, right? If you are a real estate investor, find somebody who's done it successfully, right? Because by the time you get to, for example, somebody at the bank, you want to kind of know what you're talking about. You want to sound like you are that person that like, yes, I want to do business with you. If you're really going to do business with a commercial banker or a business banker per se, they're going to become your personal advocate. So you have to know yourself. You have to be able to explain what your passion is to me, so I can take it back to loan committee and get your approval.
Right.
It's not going to be just checking a bunch of boxes and now we're done. So you're going to know your plan. I don't need your business plan. You need your business plan. But that's your understanding of what your business is going to bring to the table. And that part is the passion part of it. But then you also have to learn how to make those business decisions out of it and take the personal part out of it. When it's time to sell, it's time to sell. If it's a business, you're in it to make money. Don't hold on to it just because you're thinking, oh, this is worth so much more. There's calculations to how much your business is worth, regardless of what you think. So it's one of those, you just have to separate your personal feelings from your actual business decisions.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Don't take it personal. Your mom can say that. Don't take it personal. Yes. Because business is business, and who you are as a person, your business does not reflect who you are. It doesn't change who you are. So if you sell it off, it doesn't mean that you're not who you said you were going to be. You're not complete or anything like that. You're just making a business decision. And it might be a great business decision. Yes, to start a whole new business, right? So you should get in to get out.
You really should.
You should be getting in to get out. So when it comes to personal education, Carolyn, what role does learning play when it comes to your finances? Because again, you just came out of some very aggressive programs to get your certification. So how important is education when it comes to positioning yourself for success financially?
Well, so for me, I have to continue to hone my skills and hone my craft, because I need to, I'm giving people advice. People pay me for advice, and I need to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So that for me in my profession, I always aspire, and there's so much to know and learn. But for those who don't do what I do for a living, when you know better, you do better. Yeah. And we have had conversations just in the time that I've been sitting here about how, the conversations at the dinner table and what our parents did not talk to us about. And, I would hope that my two sons at this point know enough, and they don't do what I do. One of them is still in college, but that they can tell somebody else, tell their friends, hey, because the joke was, if you got a job and you come to Wes or Drew's house, Mama gonna sit you down at the table. We're gonna talk about what you doing. What you got a 401k at work? What you doing? What you doing with that? And the boys be like, oh God, here she go. Yep, here I go. Here I go. Because when you know better, you do better. And so some of us my parents did not tell me anything about saving for retirement or getting life insurance early, or all my daddy told me when I went to college was don't get a credit card. And I did not listen to that. Right? But, right? So we need to have an understanding of the things to do and why it's important to do it, and share that knowledge. Keshi, you were talking about your circle and who you spend time with. We sisters you somewhere with your girl like, girl, yeah, get the bag. I'm not saying you don't deserve a treat every now and again, but real talk, most of us can't afford the bag. So if your girl is like, get the bag, and you don't have any money in the bank, and your credit card is that you gotta call a credit card company to make sure you can afford to put the bag on the card. Don't get the bag. Right. So, we have to, as we learn, and I'll talk, like I said, talking to my kids, friends, and I just keep talking, because I want us to we need to do better, and when we know better, and there's some things we just don't know, and we don't know what we don't know. So I'm just spouting off everywhere that I get an opportunity, because, you know, I might just drop a nugget on somebody that makes a difference and that helps them. I have, so this might make sense. About 6 or 7 years ago, I had a client and he brought his daughter in. His daughter at the time was 50. And she had worked for a company right out of college. She had worked for a company for 30 years. And she had a 401k. She had a retirement plan. And so she came in with her statement and she had about $70,000 in her 401k. And I'm gonna tell y'all, after working for a company for 30 years and putting money in your 401k, $70,000 is abysmal. She should have had a lot more money. So I looked at it and her entire, everything that she was putting in, that she had been putting in, was in a money market. So that's essentially the money that she was putting into her retirement plan was going into a bank account. Wasn't invested in jack, wasn't making anything. And so she came in with the statement and she showed it to me and I was like, ooh. And so when I explained to her, and you know, she thought she was doing good. She didn't know. And you know, I don't want to discourage, but I'm gonna speak the truth, good, bad, or indifferent, because you need to know. And when I explained to her that she should have, you know, 10 times as much money as she had, and she cried. She broke down and cried because she knew she was supposed to put money, but she didn't know where to put it. We're talking about that target date fund. That's something that's mindless and don't take nothing. Huge, makes a huge difference. And just those little nuggets, if we don't know, we are doing ourselves a disservice. So $70,000 is better than nothing, but it's certainly not what she could have had. So I'm just about, if we get a nugget and we know some stuff, we need to talk to everybody, talk to our kids, talk to our parents, talk to our siblings, our nieces, our nephews, everybody. This would be for anyone, because let's be honest, right? Let's strip back everything and really just peel back the layers and talk about this honestly. When it comes to finances, you feel naked in that space. A lot of people feel really stripped down naked when it comes to talking about or revealing their finances. It could be to their financial advisor, their tax accountant, anybody like that. How do you recommend someone get past the ego or the supposed shame of what their finances may look like to them to be able to get the help that they need? I just grabbed the mic because I feel passionate about this. I say that my space in my office, I have an office, and my table is the table of no judgment and the table of no regret, right, Lydia? Yes. We talked about that because, you know, folks in my office, we breaking down. If you don't have a professional that you're working with, we are not here to shame you. We are here to help you improve your space. And if you're not working with people, if you're working with people, you present yourself to someone because you're like, I want to do better. I'm trying to be better than who I am. And you've made that decision that I mentioned earlier. If you go to sit with someone and you are made to feel shame, or they're trying to make you feel inferior, you have found the wrong person. Because that's not what it's about. It's about, I'm here to help you. And what you did yesterday, there's nothing we can do about what happened yesterday. We can affect what we're doing today and what we're doing moving forward. And some of us start, day one is worse for some than others, but it is what it is, and we're gonna work with what we have. But you don't have, because a lot of times if you're working one-on-one with a professional, and you're paying them somehow, some way. Don't give your money to people who don't act like they want it.
So right now, when you look at just everything today, you look at social media, right? Right. And most people, the first thing they do when they wake up is, what do?
Check social media.
Okay.
Phone.
And when you go check your social media, what do you see?
Big lifestyle.
Lifestyle, what you call highlights, right? And those highlights are right now moments.
Yeah.
So today, if the thing that you're looking at the most is right now moments, you don't know what they've been through to get there, right? You don't even know if it's real. It could be fictitious, right? But your first thing that you look at is the right now moments. And then you go look at this right now moments and what you start feeling about yourself. You start comparing people's chapter 38 to your chapter 1. And you start getting discouraged, and anxiety picks up and you get stressed. So I think today we need more environments that are like, hey, you know what the cool thing is? The cool thing is to grow.
Yeah.
Because if you have communities where the cool thing is to grow, no matter how big you are, you're not there yet. So now you're more susceptible and open to what? Growth. You're more susceptible and open to people teaching you, instructing you, giving you advice. So I love what she's doing. Can you give me a round of applause, by the way? 'Cause they're coming into her office and she's letting them know right away, listen, we're here to help you. This is a comfortable space.
Yeah.
Right? So we built a community in Rejuvco where it's like, it's a growth community. So we don't care if you're at 7 figures, you probably still need something else. And those people come in and they lay it out. And the people with nothing laid out, they have no problems laying it out because they know they're in an environment of growth. And they know they're in an environment where no matter how big somebody is, they don't think that they're perfect. Right? So how many communities can we go out there and build that makes people feel comfortable with telling people the truth about where they're at now because they know that there's a better place they can go to, right? So it's all about, getting in environments, and if you're not in one right now, get in one or just cultivate one. How about you be the first person to change?
Yeah.
Everybody's waiting for everybody else to change things. How about you be the first person to change and you be the first person to be comfortable given what you feel like is going on in life and what's presently happening? What if somebody who's not doing well in a circle of people said, hey, by the way, I'm not doing well right now and I want to pick up in these areas. How do you think you guys can help me? What do you think would happen to that circle? Do you think other people would open up? It's only our community where you have to put your chest up and I got all this, but you don't really have all that. But you're saying it because we're in this community where right now we pick up our phones and everybody's looking like they're right now where they need to be and they're really not. So how about you be the person today? Every single one, I challenge you guys in your community today to be the first person to be like, man, I don't got it all the way figured out. I'm lacking in these areas. I'm lacking in this area. Can you help me in these areas? Watch what happens to the rest of the circle.
Right.
They're going to start opening up. They're going to feel comfortable to open up to you because you were the first one to open up. And the thing is, if they shame you, you know who not to be around anymore. Because this life is about awareness and finding situations that you shouldn't be a part of and situations that you should be. Quickly and urgently. Well, how are you going to do that if you're quiet? So let's just be more truthful, guys. Let's just be more open. Let's tell people what's really going on and hope that people around you are up to the challenge of growing together. I think if we did that individually, we could make a better place for ourselves.
That doesn't have to be just lifestyle. People fake it when it comes to their business too, right, Ebony? So when it comes to the ego, when it comes to not only being honest about what your business does and how successful it actually is on paper, what are some ways that they could be able to get past that limitation as well, so that they could leverage resources in the financial space to grow and sustain?
So I'm gonna say my first response would be to have somebody in the bank you talk to first. Don't be scared to show all, to bear all, because there's something that I call deal fatigue. And you try to present a deal and you're like, hey, I want a loan for this. And then I say, well, I can't do it because of this. And then you try to change it and come back. You try to change it and come back. Nobody wants to see that. Trust yourself enough to trust somebody else to help you get it right the first time. And it's not gonna be right out the gate. You have to be willing to be like, I don't have it all figured out. Like you said, I need help with the marketing piece. I need help with this piece. So if I'm advising you and asking you, what's your strategy for X, Y, and Z, be open to that and figure it out. And don't just try to hurry up and jump in and apply for the loan. Because you can't come back, you can only come back so many times. I don't care how many times you change it, because now I'm skeptical. Are you really gonna be able to do this?
Right.
You just change one thing and then you walk away and come back, you're like, okay, now it's this.
Right.
So that's the advisory piece that you have to be open to say, let me show you what it really is. Here's my gap, and how do I help you fix my gap? Because then I can come to you and be really prepared.
Awesome. Absolutely. I hope you guys really heard what you said there. Yes, and again, it goes back to understanding your business and having a relationship with your business and yourself, right? Because you have to have that self-confidence, knowing who you are and even why you are. Like I asked them in the beginning, they were able to all answer who they are, how they are, and why they are. If you don't know your who, your how, or your why, what are you really doing? And some people don't take the time to self-reflect and really get to know who they are so they can show up as who they are authentically, whether they're on top or whether they're just getting started. It's just important to face that and be self-aware, like Keshi was saying. So it's really important. So right now we're gonna take this moment to take some questions from the audience, if that's okay. And I want you guys to ask real questions, not the fluff, but real authentic questions that can really help you, because this is your opportunity to really pick their brain. There's a really golden opportunity you have right here So I don't want you to walk out of this room not getting the information you need and taking full advantage, because they're here, they're not withholding anything, they're not gatekeeping in any way, shape, or fashion, right, guys?
Right.
Right. So this is your time to get past the ego. There's a safe space, like Carolyn has in her office. This is Carolyn's office. This is a safe space. If you don't know, you don't know. And this is the time to find out. So if you have a question, make sure it's a real good question, because anything you ask, even if you don't get a chance to ask a question, anything that someone asks can benefit you too if you really listen and really pay attention. So don't worry if you didn't get to ask your particular question. I guarantee you, whatever someone asks, if it's really authentic and genuine, you're gonna be able to capture what you need from it as well, okay? So we have young lady in the back, her hand was up first.
Hello, my name is Denise, and I have a question about building relationships. Something that was said is about authenticity, and a lot of times when people try to build relationships, they're not authentic. I'd like to hear from each panelist, when you are talking about building relationships, whether it's getting a commercial loan and going in and talking to your advisor, or building a relationship with someone that you want to create your own circle with. For me, I'm an authentic person. I am also an introverted extrovert. So authenticity is very important to me. I don't like small talk chatter for no reason. I'm very strategic with how I communicate. And so I want to make sure that I understand how to bring that authenticity as to who I am when I start to build relationships with the product that I have.
So I'm gonna say with authenticity, I think people have to understand and believe everybody is not for you.
Say that.
So every relationship you think you wanna have, if you're authentic and it doesn't work out, you should be confident that that was a good thing. You didn't waste your time.
I'm about to start jumping. I don't remember the word. Did authenticity come up when we talked about creating relationships? I don't remember hearing the actual word, but I remember thinking in my head being authentic. And relationships, even in my, for me, because I work mostly with individuals. And when I started in this industry, I was a career changer and I didn't know how to do it. And I had all these middle-aged white men who do what I have been doing, what I've done forever, tell me, well, you've got to do this. And I was like, that's not me. And so I had a difficult time figuring out who I was. And I just said this to my small group over here. I am not for everyone. Everyone is not for me. Hallelujah, I'm good. Like, I am good. So it is so important that you are who you are, who God created you to be, as you present, as you, like, for example, I am someone that if I like your dress, I'm gonna say, oh, I really like your dress. If I don't like your dress, I'm not gonna say anything. Like, I'm not going to give you a compliment. Like, I'm not faking it. But I also know that I like if somebody says, oh, I like your dress. I'll be like, thank you, girl. Thank you. Like, I appreciate that and I receive it. And, it is I want to make people that I encounter better. After someone meets me or encounters with me, I want them to step away better than how they got there. And whatever I can bring to them and however I can leave them. And I am blessed for that, because I am blessed in so many ways. I get so many blessings, big and small, that I don't feel like I deserve, but apparently God does. Amen. But it's being faithful. You can only keep up the facade for so long before it starts to crumble, and then you really.
Well, what's your name, by the way?
Denise.
You said Denise?
Yes.
What do you do for a living? If you don't mind?
By day,
Yes.
I'm an IT project manager. But by night, I'm starting my own business with a product that I have. It's a Bible game.
It's a what game?
It's a Bible game.
A Bible game.
And it's scalable for all religions.
I like that. I like that. I love that. And it sounds like you're clear about your business mission and vision.
Very much so.
Are you clear about your personal vision and mission?
Yes,
You hesitated.
I did. Because I think it's changing.
Okay.
I
I
love that.
thought I knew.
It should be changed.
It should be changing. As you grow, your vision should expand.
Yes.
As you grow,
It's getting bigger where it's scaring me, but that's
I love that.
I'll be all right.
Okay, perfect. And you know, as you're building this thing, obviously in business and the business that you have, you gotta go build certain relationships, right? Absolutely. Now, what type of relationships do you even want to build? Do you know?
That's a question that I wrote down because I think that's something that you said, you have to build relationships for your business to be successful.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you have to be intentional about the type of, you're right, you're right. Now, but one thing that people miss, what are your personal values and principles?
Are you asking me that right now?
No, I'm not asking you. I just want
Okay.
you to think about it because she said something very important that people don't think about. Sometimes not all relationships are good for you, but sometimes you'll sit in a relationship that's not good for you for years and years. And then when you finally realize it's a bad relationship, you've lost so much. You lost so much time. You lost so much energy. You lost so much because you didn't stick to your values and principles. But the thing is, what are your values and principles? What are you not compromising about? What is Denise not compromising about? What is the business not compromising about? Most people compromise to build relationships. I don't compromise to build relationships today. Today, I have a list of people I want to build relationships based on my personal vision, my business vision, my personal mission, my business mission, and my values and principles. If they do not align, I'm not seeking relationships. Okay? Now, when you have those written down, what happens is you're doing a Bible business. You're spiritual. You're God's temple. What happens is God attracts the people to his temples that are aligned with the temple. Well, what is your alignment? How do you know your alignment if it's not written down? When the wrong people comes around you, you let them into your temple because you don't know what type of people you wanted in your temple in the first place. Does that make sense? So everything is intentionality today. I need to know exactly who I need to be around today. I need to know not what they look like physically, but what they look like spiritually. And then I also need to know, what does this person bring to, if I let them into my temple, are they gonna shine a bright light in my temple or are they gonna dim my light? Everything comes with intentionality. I always tell people in life, if you don't take life, life will take you. This is a taking game in the United States of America, in any country that you live in. And when you breathe today, it's a taking game. Who is taking what? Are you taking life or is life taking you? God wants you to take life by shining your light. Your light is in your temple. Who are you allowing in it? Well, how do you know who to allow in if you're not intentional about who should be in it? So first you gotta look in yourself. The relationship gonna start with you. Is your relationship with you okay first? Do you know what you want? Do you know the type of people you're not allowing or letting in? Those conversations have to happen first. Or you're never gonna build the right relationship, or you'll build a relationship that was never supposed to be for you anyways. Then you lost 5 years, 2 years, 10 years, and you look and be like, damn, I wasted those years. Well, you weren't clear. Now I learned this from mistakes. I learned this from 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 years of building bad relationships. And I realized the good relationships that are still here came from intentionality. So now the way that I build relationships is different. Now, when those people come around you, like I told you, what value can you give them? Everybody wants everything. You are a taker. Takers get nothing. In this world, when you get what in return? You get it back. Doesn't our world go like this? It doesn't. Does it just go like this? In history, they said it goes like this. Some people, but no, it goes like this. That's what I believe in. But if your belief is that it goes like this, then whatever you give people, you're going to get in return.
Yeah.
If you're just a taker, what are people going to do to you? But if you give, what are people going to give to you? That is life. Does that make sense? So be intentional about what you want. Start there. Okay? So you don't waste years.
You attract what you are, essentially. So if you're authentic, you literally repel fake people. They won't be able to stand you because you become like a mirror and they don't like what they see. So it's authentic. Be so authentic. People don't like you if they're fake. They can't stand because you expose them, and they don't want to come around you because that. And then your gifting and your energy becomes so palpable that it just repels people who aren't. But you also attract those who are just like you, and they see you. They see you. And like he said, it's not a physical thing. It's a spiritual thing, it's a spiritual connection. And it just feels good. And trust that feeling. It's there for a reason. Trust your gut. Like, how many people don't trust their gut anymore? Like, trust your gut, and you have to be in tune with yourself in order to do that. Okay? So, Reginald, I know you had a question.
Yeah, and Caroline sparked it, right? So, what would you recommend before somebody comes see you and they're facing a lot of financial trauma? They may be embarrassed, right? What would you recommend that people do before coming to see you to prepare in any way? Because one of the things that, just to add a little more, I've seen is that people know so little about what makes up their financial lives. They can't answer basic questions. What would you recommend that people do to prepare people?
So when I'm starting with some, can you hear me?
When I'm starting with a new person, if somebody calls my office and says, I wanna make an appointment with Carolyn, the first thing we do is my assistant schedules a phone call. And I will call that person and say, why do you think you need to come see me? What do you think your issue is? Or what do you think, what is your concern? Why, and that's the first thing that we do. Why are you calling me? How can I help you? What do you think you need? And most people can articulate, this is my situation, this is where I am. And then based on that, I can help navigate. This is what I see. These are the things you need to address. And many times, those people aren't ready to start investing with me, right? If someone comes to me and they have a lot of debt and they have like a myriad of things where they don't have extra money to start investing, or they don't have any money to invest and but they need some guidance, I'm gonna take time. And I do this several times a week. Okay, this is what you need to do. Like, I ask a whole lot of questions, and everything that we discuss is confidential. You're not even my client, and I am going to record that you and I talked because I have your name and your phone number. But what we talk about is between us. I'm not sharing it with anybody else. And I'm going to ask a whole lot of questions, and I'm going to give you a baseline outline. This is what you need to do. You need to focus on this. You need to do this. You need to do this. And I want you to follow up with me in a couple of months. Because I'm not calling those people back. And most of those people don't call me back. And that's okay, because I said this to this group right here. My time is valuable. Right. You don't get to waste my time. I've been and this has been the longest 11 years of my life. And the first couple of years in this career, God has a plan, and there's a reason why things happen and unfold the way that they do.
It's a safe space, Carolyn, you're good.
I'm transparent, right? But I wasted a lot of time with people who were not worth my time, right? So I'm going to tell you, this is based on what you told me, this is what I'm hearing, this is what I'm suggesting, what do you think? And they're like, and nobody hangs up the phone without saying to me, thank you so much for taking the time. Because I'm gonna take the time. Now, if I can help them with something, then, Jill's gonna schedule an appointment and they're gonna come in and we're gonna move from there. So a lot of times, no, people don't really know what specifically they need, but they know enough to say, I need a financial advisor. So making the call is the first thing. So you don't necessarily have to know what you need. You just need to know enough to know, I need to talk to somebody who can give me some guidance and give me some help. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
I do have a response to that question. So if you don't have one yet or don't know what it is, everybody should do their own personal financial statement. Personal financial statement. Google it right now. They're the same at all banks. Any place else, even probably, they're all the same. But you should do it for yourself first, because that's going to give you your personal financial situation. When people talk about net worth, that's how you get to the net worth. And you'd be shocked at how many business owners come to me and they are making money in their businesses and have no idea how to fill out a PFS. And that's the one thing that tells you about you personally. Your business is a small part of that, but that will start. That's a good start to start with that form.
That was a very deep question. That was a very deep question. But we spoke, and you were spoken about some very important things that people need to hear about. We talked about financial health. And people don't know what the idea or concept of financial health is. What is your financial health today? You start talking about people increase their credit score, but they're doing it in the detriment of their financial health. And that's why, when I sit with people, I just like to hear what they do. I learned a lot from him, earlier, and I think people should listen, talk to him. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. No, don't be shy now.
No,
don't be shy.
I learned a lot from you.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Financial health is important. Can I give you guys a book to read? Because they already said everything perfectly. The first step is just going to ask for help. But if everybody had an opportunity, I would tell you to read Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. Secrets of a Millionaire, is it Secrets of a Millionaire Mind? Yes, I think it is. And a lot of people have a bad idea of what money should be, what it looks like, how they were attracted, because of how they were raised. Certain things that people said, you know, when you were raised and your parents were like, money doesn't grow on trees. So now it limits money flow that comes towards you because you don't accept money flow. Right? And it talks about how, you know, in order to fix your money problems, you have to go to the root. So, you know, when a tree is growing and the branches are getting all over your field and all the leaves are getting everywhere, what most people do, they whack the branches, right? And what happens to the tree? It keeps growing. The problem is you're supposed to take the tree out if you want to stop the problem. The problem is most people don't go to the root. And the root is, well, how did your parents, how did your grandparents, how did your friends talk to you about money growing up? That affects you today and how you receive money and how you think about money and how you accept money. In that book, there's a lot of blueprints, there's PDFs, there's journals in it that makes you reconstruct your money blueprint and your money mindset and how you accept money. Because some people in here are supposed to be extremely wealthy, but they're blocking it with the way they think about money. And it's not their fault. It's something that their parents were telling them about money before they even knew. It was subconscious. So I would tell everybody, I just want to refer that book. Is it Secrets of a Millionaire Mind?
Yeah.
The Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. If you read that book, it's, you know, audible book, you can read it was like 6 hours, 7 hours. There's worksheets with it. Just do that. I guarantee it's going to shift the way that you think about money. I think everybody needs to start there for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you. I know I had Bridget and I have Janice. So Bridget, go ahead.
Okay, thank you everyone for the time you took to come out tonight. So let's talk about mindset. Actually, something that you said made me think about the mindset shift that needs to happen. So how do you protect your mindset on a daily basis? With affirmations, because you have to be intentional about protecting your mindset, right?
You have to create a force field. When you're in the process of developing your mindset, that force field needs to be created. The problem is, let's say you go to a conference today, right? And you learn all these magical things and your mind starts going, your mind starts shifting, you start changing, you're getting enlightened. You know, your light is brightened and then you go back home to the same people. What happens? What happens? It's insanity, right? It's patterns. So I said this earlier, like the foundation of your mindset development has to be ABCs. You have to be able to put yourself in a place where it's consistently and constantly shifting you. And the moment you stop that flow of your mindset shifting is the moment that you go backwards, because usually you go back to what you're comfortable with, right? You always conform to what you're comfortable with. It's like in relationships, you date people and you want better out of the relationships you're in, but because you've been so comfortable with that person that's so negative towards you and so rude to you, that's what you usually go back to because it's comfortable, but is it good for you, right? So the first thing is first, I think somebody said it earlier, you gotta understand that the mindset development process is very uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good in the beginning. You have to be okay with the first few months, days, weeks, years of like total uncomfort. It's like, you know, the drug user that wants to quit drugs, what happens? Withdrawal. Is it tough before it gets better?
Yes.
It's the same thing with mindset development. It's so tough until it gets better because the reason why you're like that is because of your environment. And your environment is who you are as you're going through this building stage, so you gotta get away from them. Can you find places that allow you to get to a place where you could grow? I need you to write that down. I need you to research, look for places that allow you to grow. That's number one. Two, I need you to be aware of the people who are limiting your growth. And I need you to what? What should you do to them? Cut them off. Is it gonna be hard though? I need you, number three, write it down. It's going to be hard. So what's number one?
Find places that allow you to grow.
Find places that allow you to grow. Find place of reform, and place environment that you could find other like-minded people. What's number two? What's number two?
Identify the people who are limiting your
And
growth.
cut. Who just said that? Cut. And then number three, you gotta understand that it's going to be hard. And then what's number four? Do it again. Because when you get to a new level, what you gotta get to? Another level. You gonna stay on one level? How you gonna grow? That's not growth. Who likes to drink still water? Nobody. Mosquitoes, infestation, disease. Am I lying? You wanna drink water that's doing what? Flowing. So number one is what? What's number two? What's number three?
It's gonna be hard.
And then what's number four? Rinse and repeat.
Last one with Janice.
Okay, so my question is more so, where we were touching on history of banking. For someone who already has, kind of messed up their history with banking due to growing up, I'm young, I'm 28.
Are you sure?
But yes, I'm young, so just different generationals and going through different things, and of course, life happens. So for someone who has already kind of messed up that history of banking, what would be your first step to recovery on getting back so your history can start to grow?
So depending on what that history is, I would say you have to confront it, right? Figure out what that is. And if you're in some kind of system, banks have all kind of stuff nowadays. And your name is here, your business name is here, or your EIN is here, whatever. I would say you have to confront it, because the benefit to working with an advisor or a community bank is you can talk to somebody about that history, right? Somebody asked me earlier the difference between a community bank and, a large bank. Usually it's the relationship you can build, right? So you have to understand what you individually need from a bank and approach it directly. So if you're trying to clean up your history, go to a banker and say, here's my issue, how do I fix it?
Would it be one that I've already been with, or could it just be one that I want to start working with?
I would say want to start working with, because everything is not necessarily connected. So I don't know what kind of history it is per se, but a lot of times people think they know all. They don't necessarily know all. So I would go to where you want to be and be candid, right? Be transparent and say, this is what happened in the past. Is this going to be an issue?
Thank you.
Did that help?
Yes, it is.
Awesome. You mind standing up so you can project a little bit more?
Yes. All right. So you said, why do you want to build a relationship? The second thing that you said is, what does this relationship want you to do? And the third thing I didn't get to get.
What are you gonna give to the relationship? Because remember, you gotta give something to get something. So a lot of people want something, but they don't know what they're gonna give to that person when they need them. So today on my list, I know the people that I haven't met yet. Remember I told you I had a list of 10? I'm building relationships with 4 of them. I know the 5th person, when I meet them, what I'm gonna give to them, that's gonna make them say, this guy's all right. I'm that intentional. Does that make sense? So know what you can give to that person as well, that you're intentional about building a relationship. That's the most important thing, actually.
Thank you very much. My second question is, actually for the banker. I've been in business, and my first business for about maybe almost 10 years. And when I first started off, I started as a sole LLC. But now that I'm growing and scaling my business, I'm doing my taxes, and they wanted me to get into an S corp. What is the best route as a startup to be able to put yourself in the right business?
Talk to your tax advisor.
And we have one in the room. We have Ms. Mitchell. Mitchell, raise your hand.
Can you raise your hand?
Yes, she's with Anytime Tax Services. So Sophia, connect with Mitchell when we break up for networking again. LaShawn?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Hassan. I am a entrepreneur. I'm an independent artist. I make music, working on an album, and I have a question for the panelists today. That's about mental health and starting up as entrepreneurs. So, pretty much what I wrote down was what advice would you give unseasoned entrepreneurs to help them protect their business and assets from external threats when when presented with opportunities? Like, I guess I'm saying, like, you know, we all live in the city of Atlanta. It's a lot of fraudulent activity out here. I'm new, but we've all been kind of like swept up in, you know, the idea of like, oh, this might be good for my business, and we're also, you know, doing it, a lot of us on our own. So like when you're presented with an opportunity and it's like we don't know that it's a wolf in sheep's clothing, like how do you protect your business, your assets, and your mental health through the process of that when you realize maybe that you've been bamboozled and now you have to go through the process of dealing with that loss maybe for some of the entrepreneurs. How to prevent it, what to do if that does happen to you.
So I like to give quick answers, but to your first question about how do you protect yourself, especially as an entrepreneur with intellectual property, I would say get an attorney before you have anything for somebody to steal.
That's huge. That's huge. That's huge. Can you stand up again? All right. So first you said mental health.
Yeah.
Okay. Entrepreneurs, can I talk to you guys real quick? Is there people in here that want to be entrepreneurs? Yeah. Is there people in here? Okay. When you're seeking entrepreneurship, you have to understand that nothing's gonna go as planned. And you have to have a mental preparation going into that.
And you still won't be ready.
And you still won't be ready. Okay? Everything that can go wrong will go wrong. But when you think like that, yeah, twice. But when you think like that, what happens is you start to prepare better. And also you gotta remember is like losses aren't losses, they're lessons, man.
There it is.
And people think that how you gonna, man, listen, when you lift weights, does it hurt? Not anymore. It used to hurt. Can I tell you something? By the way, as an entrepreneur, this is gonna relate to your question. You know why it doesn't hurt anymore? Because you stop pushing yourself. You're coasting. So you have the same body you probably had 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks a year ago. You stop. That's entrepreneurship, by the way. Shit's always gonna go bad. Well, if everybody could do entrepreneurship, it would be a lot of entrepreneurs. You're picking an industry that's gonna cause you to be different than the regular people. So you gotta be able to handle more than a regular person can handle. You're not a regular person. So the first thing I say to you, every day you gotta look in the mirror and say, I'm not regular, I'm kind of crazy. But you know what I love about crazy is doesn't crazy people run the world today?
Yes, sir.
Is it not the crazies that run the world today? You wanna be crazy.
So I wanna add on to that because it took me 7 years to finish college. I went to Charleston Southern University.
Yes.
I started
Come on.
That was like stacked against me, like it was. And yeah, I started in 2016. I just graduated last year, May 2023.
Stack them.
I always felt like an entrepreneur growing up as a young kid. So I studied entrepreneurship when I went to college because I wanted to learn who I was and what I was getting myself into.
Love it.
Now, when I studied business, like I said before, I'm an independent artist. I've also been doing music for that amount of time as well. I also just passed my state exam today to sell life insurance.
Come on, man.
My goal was to be a financial advisor. Right? And so coming in here and hearing her tell me like, well, we have these 2 people, what group do you want to sit with? I'm like, yo, like it's like being on The Voice. You gotta choose who you want to coach. You know, like everybody here on the panel is so great. But I chose to be with Miss Ebony because I knew she was gonna tell me something that I hadn't heard before. And so that's why I intentionally came here to this group. But I mean, when something didn't work for me, I tried something else, you know, and
Can I stop you right there? Can I stop you right there? Can I stop you right there? When something didn't work for me, I tried something else. When something doesn't work for you, it's in your purpose, you try to do it differently. You don't try something else. So if you're in your purpose, you don't try something else, you do it differently. It's called a pivot. What happens is, you know, people don't understand that there's so many different routes to get to one place. Does that make sense? Like coming here, I could have took 285 and 175. Back roads, took Marietta Street, took the back roads, you know, the back roads I'm talking about. So there's so many different ways to get here. And the problem is that because of passion, sometimes people get locked into that passion. They're not able to alleviate from that ego and they say, well, I said I could do it this way, so I'm only gonna go this way. And that ego tears you down. Because you get beat on, and that ego tells you can only go one way, and on that one way you get beat on, the road's getting broken up, and your car's going like this, it's shaking, your wheel axle breaks off, your tire pops off, you stop, you're in a dead end because you said you can only go one way. And then you run out of gas. Does that make sense? And then you're exhausted. So what I want to tell you is this, I wanted to stop you there because I do have more things to say, but brother, if it's your purpose, you don't go on to the next things, you find different ways to get there. What are different ways that you get there? Well, you got a life insurance license. Can you make income in a flexible way with a life insurance license?
Yes, sir.
Does that cash help you pay for production?
Yes, sir.
Marketing,
Yes, sir.
assistance, direction, creative direction. That's not doing something different, that's going a different way. Does that make sense? So just as long as when you're getting to your lifelong goal, you're not changing it, but you're going different directions and you're still on a path towards it. Does that make sense? But don't ever let the devil deviate you from the place that you're supposed to go. I need you to read a book called Outwitting the Devil.
Yes, the word.
The devil will use things that you are easy to you and comfortable to you to take you away from your purpose in life. Because you guys don't forget, if you read the Bible, you know who owns this world, right? The devil. This is playground. You got to be cautious. You got to be cautious of human things taking you away from your purpose. Because it will do it to you if you're not prepared to take losses and learn. They're just lessons, not losses. Never change where you're going if it's your true purpose. Just change the direction in which you're taking to get there. Does that make sense? Okay.
So much. Give it up for our amazing panelists. Give it up for them. Our money matters. Yes. And as a token of appreciation for you all being here, I do have a little presentation for you each. And each of these individuals are important and special to me, even if we just met like last week. But what the Elite Circle is about me having the privilege and the honor of presenting my circle of influence to everyone else and sharing that with you guys. So these are not just individuals that I just hit up and I didn't know. These are people who watched me grow, who've taught me lessons, who've been there when I cried, when I was in pain. And even if it was from afar, they just really saw my growth. They were there for it. So I know Carolyn, she's my financial advisor, and I be crying her off. Listen, we be on Zoom crying. And she's an empath as well, so she feels my pain. When I'm crying, it's like, it kills her. So I go through it too. So just because I'm the one with the mic and with this event, doesn't mean I don't go through it too. So understand that this is all just a look, okay? And the person with the mic doesn't mean that they're better than you or in a better space than you or anything like that. It's all branding. I'm a brand manager by trade, so I know how to position it to make it look like it's doing what it's supposed to do. It doesn't mean it's not fake. It just doesn't mean it's all together.
For sure.
And it's still okay.
For sure.
I still love me.
For sure.
Either way. So
As you should.
So this circle is actually me looking for the people that I need and creating that space. Like Keshi was saying, those people that I need around me, this circle is for me. You guys benefit. But understand, it's for me first. Understand, I'm being real self-serving right now. Not selfish, but self-serving. And there's a difference.
It starts there though.
Yes. Yes.
It starts there.
Yeah. Understanding the difference between selfish and being self-serving, making sure that you benefit and that you are in a position so that you can give back. Because you can't give what you don't have. Right? So if I don't have these relationships, I couldn't bring them up here to talk to you guys and open up the space. Even me being in Rock Steady, that's a relationship that I had to develop over years when they first opened. So, and I don't take it for granted the fact that they partner with me to provide the space. They don't charge me. Wow. They don't charge me. So give it up for Rock Steady. Jacob, he's not here today, but Jacob is a very special person when it comes to
watching my growth and being part of that. And again, it's all relationships, and some of the things that you do years back will start paying off in the end. There's 7 years in, and now it's paying off in this way. So definitely understanding that these individuals who are here are very special to me, and they're my circle of influence. And now you guys are part of my circle too. Yes. So I want to thank them for their time and being here.